We live?
We're live.
The classic skip the
Woo!
countdown live. Let's go.
Yo, countdown. Didn't even need one today.
Nah, we didn't need
I
one
didn't even
today.
want to do a countdown today because I was so fired up to get in here with you.
You count down with the reels that you posted today. 3, 2, 1.
Sheesh.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Nah, I would pretty much say I'm a YouTube influencer now, right?
Yeah,
You
Andrew's
can, you can,
posted
you can
3
call it.
shorts and he's constantly checking his analytics and he's a YouTube influencer now. And he's waiting on brand
I'm
deals.
pretty big time, honestly. Like, are there many people bigger than me?
Not many are powered by StreamYard.
Nah, and we are.
Exactly.
So
This
it's
is
like we're doing it
episode
together
6
now.
of Back Your Beliefs. Me and Andrew were
Episode
doing it
what?
together. Episode 6, bro. We made it this far.
Sheesh, man.
6 weeks. We got 10. I got 10 weeks to go for the Philadelphia Marathon. You do too, but you got one
Yeah.
sooner than that, right?
Yeah, I got one about 6 weeks away. About 6 weeks away. We got Arizona, man. And I was watching the UFC fights this past weekend. If anyone saw them, Leon Edwards, knocked out the pound for pound best fighter in the world. It was pretty crazy. But they were actually fighting up in Utah, and elevation was around 4,500, which is less than where I'll be at, but elevation is still high. And you saw fighters who don't usually get tired. They were gassed. They were gassed. And all I'm thinking, I texted Daryl, I'm like, yo, if you're watching these fights right now, man, we're in for a battle come October 8th. We're in for a battle on this marathon, man. It's going to be a journey for sure. But yeah, dude, I'm excited for it, man. I'm pumped. I got a long run tomorrow, but let's get into it, bro. What are we getting into today?
Yeah,
I'm just so pumped right now, man. Honestly,
you mentioned the UFC fights. I am too, bro. We got another day. You know, we're grateful. We're kicking off Monday strong. We were killing it on the phones today.
Yeah,
we
I
got
put up crazy numbers today.
I bet you put up crazy freaking numbers. Over 100 calls.
Well,
for sure. Well over. I probably did half that. But I had great conversations. We had great conversations today, and we were able to do it together, right, guys? Like, you don't need to do this stuff by yourself. We make the calls in the virtual office, and we do it with a lot of other people, right? So they're able to hear us call, and we're able to hear them call and give each other feedback. And I mean, that's so important about the community. I wanted to share a little tidbit really quick to get you guys hype, right? And I like to break it down in numbers. I'm usually not analytical, but a part of me was being analytical when I dived into this, right? So think about it, right? If you start working out, let's just say you start working out at 18 years old, right? I'm going to give you to 65. From 18 years to 65 years, that's 564 months. I did the math, right?
Jeez.
564 months. When you really think about it, if you want your dream body, if you want abs, I know if you want abs, right? All you need to do is subtract at least 8 to 10 months from that 564, right? And in the grand scheme of things, that ain't nothing. But at the same time, imagine if you had a month's counter up at your door, right? How different would you change your life if you were counting down those months, right? And we upped it a little bit more. You can change it from 65, right? But I'm just doing that as like, being in shape and working out for that reason. But when I think about my months and I'm counting them down, right, and I'm being intentional with that, it just makes me so much more intentional with my time. So I wanted to share that today. I've been thinking about that.
Nah, that's sweet, man. The difficult thing with that, right, is we don't know how many months are left. So yeah, that's a great tool to use. Like, man, I don't have a lot of months left. Just, God willing, I stay till 65. But it's like that thing that I like to keep my bag in the head is like, what if this is my last run? What if this is the last day I can go to the gym? You have no idea what could happen. What if this is the last day I could eat healthy? What if this is the last day I can make 100 calls? And when you stop taking things for granted, and that's exactly what you're saying there, Nick, is like, hey, let's stop wasting time here, right? We only have this short amount of time. If we're lucky, let's make the most of it.
Absolutely. Because in the grand scheme of things, like you can break it down, you can change your whole mentality. I think a lot of people have this mentality, right? And it comes from societal beliefs is the New Year's resolutions, right? You could wait until the whole next year. If I'm in February and I'm like, I got next year. I'm gonna wait
Yeah.
the whole 10 months, bro. That's crazy.
Crazy, man.
It's
What are you
crazy.
doing?
You can start the next day, right? So I think that's definitely the mindset where, every single day Andrew's saying, what if, right? What if this is my last day where I'm blah, blah, blah. That's why we leave it all out in the court, right? And it's so much more stronger and it's so much more passionate and emotional when you're doing it for that big reason. And I think that's what we're gonna get into, bro. You wanted to break down a specific video and then go into another topic.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I want to do. I already touched on the UFC fights this past weekend, and there's actually a clip from this past weekend's UFC fights that I wanted for us to watch here. It's a minute 20 seconds, and you're just gonna see a man show a tremendous amount of emotion. That's all I'm gonna say, and we'll break it down after. But I hope that you guys can enjoy this.
Dude, I feel like we're gonna be the next like Sports Center casters and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is gonna be dope. Get us the Sports Center screen. Yep.
yeah. Is that full screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Shout
All
out to
right.
Joe Rogan.
Shout out Joe Rogan. And this is Luke Rockhold for y'all who don't know.
Luke Rockhold, and what an amazing display of heart and courage.
Move the cursor.
Luke, what has this experience been like for you, Luke?
Oh, I've been through so much the last few years. Thank you, fighting. Thank you, UFC. Thank you, Joe. Can't do this anymore. I gave it my all. I just didn't. I'm old.
Well, Luke, I'll tell you what you have. You have heart and courage like no one else. That was an amazing display of perseverance and guts and courage and the will to win. And it was awesome to watch. And if this is the last fight you have inside the octagon, thank you very much for an incredible career. It's been an honor to call your fights. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Luke Rockhold, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for a legend.
Shout out to everyone like me that was distracted by. Oh, it was actually my own cursor. That's so funny. I didn't see that. That's good. Wow, man. That's a lot to take in. I mean, you notice how much respect he gets from that crowd. It was dead silent when he was talking.
Yeah. And the reason why I watched that video, probably this happened Saturday. We're now on Monday. I probably watched that video 50 plus times. And I'm a fight fan and stuff like that, but I think it's just different when you see someone like that who shows so much emotion, right? He put so much of his life into something, right? And what he did was put his life into fighting, and he was, world champion. He's one of the greatest of all time. And you see a guy like that, he can't even put words together when he's in the octagon there, right? He's talking to Joe. He can't even talk. He's just, filled with emotion because it's his last fight and he's done. He's walking away from it. And for a lot of people, I mean, 99% of us will never know what it feels like to be locked in a cage with someone. Literally, where you can die. Right? Because of the world that we live in, 99% of us will never know what that feeling is. But for most of us, most of people watching are like, well, why is he upset? Right? He's got money, he has fame, he's good, and now he doesn't have to fight anymore. He doesn't have to do that anymore. Like, why would you ever even want to get into a cage with absolute killers on a Saturday night? Like, why would you want to do that? And for him, he's so his emotions are pouring out that he has to walk away from that. And I think what it just shows is how important it is to put yourself in these tough situations. Right. So just a backstory, Luke's 37 years old. He's past his prime. He's going against one of the best fighters in the world right now, who's in his prime. And he had to put a tremendous amount of work to get in really good shape, to be the Luke Rockhold of old, to do that. And he had to just put himself through a crazy training camp to get to that point. And hard work after hard work after hard work, morning after morning, right? Long nights after long nights. And when you do that, you really break through some barriers in your mind and your body. And then just seeing him have to walk away from that is just really remarkable to me, to see how powerful it is to push your body, and how, how much he respects himself in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, there's some keywords to take away, right? Is like breakthrough, right? He was able to break through and put himself into uncomfortable situations. And the most beautiful thing is, knowing you fulfilled your dream and walking away from it, right? Walking away at the right time. Just like a little side note is like there's a YouTube channel where these creators, they posted for a whole year, right? And they posted every single day for a whole year, and then they deleted that channel after. And there was just something beautiful about how much work, you're putting into something that you're passionate about, than just to let it go away, right? And let it be free. So, I mean, I think there's a lot more reasons as to why he's obviously emotional. And with people like that, after the fighting comes, he's going to find something to fill that void in time, to have that much passion for you. Who knows? He might love smoking meats. He might like, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shooting arrows, right? Bow and arrows. But like,
Right.
it's amazing to find something like that and just take it all the way. Take it 110%.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to what we talked about last week, Nick, with your purpose. And knowing your why. Because I'm sure Luke's doing a lot of searching right now, because his why for a long time was trying to be world champion.
Exactly.
Right? His why for a long time was trying to be the best fighter he could possibly be. And, that goes into your role and identity, on like who you are as a person, because now the role of being a fighter is not there anymore.
Yep.
So, Nick, like when people are going from, we can relate this video to a lot of things, but when people are going from like their W-2 to being a full-time entrepreneur, it's the same thing, man. You're walking away from something and you're getting into something else. You have to figure out your why, and you have to figure out your role, right? So, tell me how someone can be okay, can feel, because I don't want to say feel comfortable doing it, because I don't think you will be comfortable.
You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I think David Goggins talks about it so much, and our brain naturally doesn't like change. So don't think that it's going to be easy. Don't think that there's something wrong with you, because we're wired. This thing inside of us right here is wired to not like change, right? That's why it's so comfortable, being in your bed. That's why it's so comfortable turning on Netflix and heating up some popcorn that takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? If you got that certain microwave, it won't burn. But you think about it as to what was the question?
How what you're thinking about popcorn, man?
Yeah, I started thinking about a nice little movie, some popcorn. I got comfortable, bro.
Man,
I got
man,
comfortable.
you're wild, bro. But no, what I said is like how I didn't want to say people get comfortable, like, because transitioning from one role to the next, right? Knowing your why, figuring it out, right? What Luke has to do this week, he's got to do moving forward, right? He's no longer a fighter. He's no longer trained to be the best fighter in the world, because that's not his life anymore, right? That's not his role anymore. So like how do people make that transition and they're okay with it?
I think it's cool to actually break down his stuff, right? And your role as a UFC fighter, right? But there's got to be so many reasons as to why he's doing it, right? Some could be the fame, right? Some could be the glory of being the strongest man. Some could be providing for your family, right? And being that father figure. And that can translate into, many different roles, right? And you got to figure out what you love to do still. I'm sure UFC isn't the only thing. MMA is the only thing that Luke loves to do, right? I mean, that could translate into being a coach for his son, right? That could translate into so many different things. Being a caster, so many things as to where he can provide influence on others, and you have to figure that out within yourself, right? At 37, you know whether you like to be in front, interviewing people, or you like to be behind the scenes doing something else, right? It's all based on your personality, but you don't always, and that's the great thing about us as humans, is we don't just fit into one category. Like, you could have so many different roles, and I think exploring those roles is what makes life so great.
Yeah, man, I love that. And I think we see that a lot when people have their careers cut short, or people's career just end early, right? When you have your whole life ahead of you, Luke has another whole life to live after this, right? He's 37. And you see that in the military a lot, right? Where people get out of the military and they're 30 some years old and they're like, well, I was just in the military for the last 8 years. What do I
Oh,
do?
you know.
Yeah, it's all I know. What do I do now? You see it with athletes, right? So how many basketball, football, baseball players are just done, and they're in their 30s or even in their 20s, and they're like, well, this is all I plan to do. Like, what do I do now? And it's definitely a struggle. It's definitely a struggle, because I feel like a lot of time we forget that we got to accept another role. It's so relatable with sports, right? Because you go from being the guy where you could be a starter and you're scoring 25 points a game, you're an all-star, your career starts to go down, right? You're now in year 10, and now you're a role player. You're coming off the bench, right? You're scoring, 8 to 10 points a game. You're being a leader more vocally than you were when you were a rookie. Throughout our careers, throughout our lives, our role is going to change. Being able to accept it and be good at it is what's important, because you see a lot of time in sports when people aren't willing to accept that role as a role player, and I want to be the guy, but they're too old. They're not the same player they were 5 years ago. That's when you see those players get kicked out of the league a lot earlier than those people who are willing to accept the role. It's not an easy thing. It's not.
Yeah.
And that's with anything, right? Like, if you go to like this, you're done fighting, it's not going to be easy. Even when people have trouble with retirement, you just worked your whole life. Now you're not going to work anymore. I mean, how, for like,
What do you fill that time with?
exactly.
Right?
Like, everyone,
And
I want to drink margaritas on the beach. How long are you doing that for, bro?
yeah.
You're going to be
It's-
fat. You're going to be fat in
Yeah.
2 months if you drink margaritas on the beach every single day. What are you going to do?
Exactly. There needs to be more things, and I think it's like, I can relate it to like trying new food, right? It's like, you don't know that you like this food until you try it, right? And it's this the same with anything, right? It could be with rock climbing, it could be with jet skiing, it could be with tennis, right? It could be anything where you don't know if you like it until you've had that experience. Right. So I think it's important to go out and have those new experiences. And I'm really talking to myself, right? Because we get so comfortable in our environment, right? I'm so comfortable in this room right now with my 3 monitors, and I'm talking to Andrew, who lives 2 hours away from me, and I could talk to anyone that lives anywhere around the world. Is we get caught up in our own little bubble, and we get to the point where, like, this is all you know, unless if you seek new things.
Yeah, man. I mean, seeking new things is so powerful, right? Because you really do get to figure out, okay, is this something that I want to adapt into my life? This is something I want to take over and bring it into my life. And you have to do that to find what you like in the first place. And sometimes we forget that. You had to try, like, if you're like a person who doesn't like eating out, you don't want to like try new food, but you had to try your food first at some point, right? Like you had to try a plain chicken breast first. You know, you had to try it at some point.
Yeah.
So you were able to love that, and you know, it doesn't matter, man. Whatever you like to do. Those guys who get into fighting, right? You had to try that out first. You didn't just get in a cage and become champion. You had to go through all the training and stuff like that. And I think that's a huge part I wanted to bring up. We understand now that changing your role is hard, right? We see it time after time after time. Celebrities, you know, even them when they're done being that person, a lot of them struggle, you know, because they're struggle with depression a lot because they're not that actor anymore. They're, you know, and these models, the same exact thing. So the thing I want to touch on about the Luke Rockhold thing is the passion it must take to do something like that, right? And I love talking about it, about how important it is to really push yourself to figure out who you are. And it's like what pushes you more than when you're training literally like to be locked in a cage with someone. Like you're giving it everything you have. Right. And there's like we always find like there's another step because you know, okay, we're training for a marathon. There's people training for 100-mile races.
I like where we're going. And it's the most obvious form of war and conquest I think that there can be, is getting in the cage with someone like that. And that's why I like to think about when I'm running, right? I like to think like this competition and using certain emotions. Like for me, I know I need to start using anger more to fuel me, to push me, right? Because motivation is dead. Motivation comes and goes, bro. But what drives you? Right? What actually drives you, and that commitment you make to yourself every 24 hours needs to be that drive, right? So I like to think about it like every time I'm going for a run, like I'm going to war. Like the people that are walking right over there, I'm like, yeah, I'm flying by them, obviously, right? But I'm not comparing myself to them. I'm comparing myself to the one that's been running way before I even started, right?
Yeah.
And they're looking at you like, oh, you know, 10 pace. I remember when I used to do 10 pace, right? 10-minute pace. So it's like
Yeah.
that's what's so important. I think what's so just manly is the fight for conquest as a man, because it's intrinsically inside of us to compete, right?
Yeah. And dude, you break back so many layers when you get to that point of exhaustion and then you push through it. That's the thing I say all the time to people is like, do you even know what it's like to be exhausted and then keep going? Seriously, there's a lot of people who cannot say yes to that. There's a lot of people, right? There's a lot of people who can't say yes to that question.
And I could tell you firsthand. Nah, I could tell you firsthand, bro. It's all in the mind, right? And when I had that week last week of like not being committed to my commitments, you could feel it in your brain. Like your brain is begging you to be comfortable right now. It's begging you not to go to the gym. It's begging you not to put on those running shoes and go out for a run. It's really until you get past this, right? And you're okay. So Luke Rockhold. Oh yeah, I'm gonna train every single day, right, to be the best fighter. Like we know the UFC pay isn't great, right? It's not about payment. It's not about being the most famous person, right? It's about something a lot bigger, and it takes getting past your thoughts and your emotions to be consistent and show up every single day, man.
Yeah. No, I mean exactly, man. And the thing I tell people is when you're getting to those points of exhaustion, and I think Luke sees it, right? When you're done in the fight's over, you're so appreciative of the things around you, right? When the fight ended, he's going over and he's hugging his coaches and he's just saying sorry because he felt like he let them down because he didn't win, but he's so appreciative of their time. He's not saying sorry, he's saying sorry because he feel like he disappointed them because he knows how much effort, how much work that they put into him, right? When you get done a 15-mile run and you're exhausted, you just had a tough work week and you whatever you're doing, or you go run a marathon and you're done, you're exhausted, you just train for it. It's not, you don't feel the pain, right? You feel the appreciation of all those things around you. You feel the appreciation of the people who supported you. You feel the appreciation just another day. And so many times people will lose sight of that. Today is not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to anybody. So like when you're out there and just you're giving it your all, like there is no more. There's no more time left on the clock. The appreciation that you have for everything around you. I mean, I'm always in the best mood when I'm done. When I'm done with my hard workouts, that's what I do it for. I literally do it for that feeling when I'm done my workouts. That's what drives me to get up in the morning and just work super hard, because that feeling that I have after, I'm just so appreciative and of the things around me and just so grateful to be here and be able to push my body and have a healthy mind and a healthy spirit, and then an opportunity just to get better each and every day.
It's such a good feeling, bro. And that's when I have those feelings of euphoria when I'm like done with that workout, is what I tend to remind myself as to why I go. I think it's funny, right? Everyone here can relate to it, or you can do it right now if you wanted to. Go for a 10-mile run and see how you feel after, and then eat a box of Cheez-Its, eat the whole box, right? And see how you feel after, right? Which one is going to make you feel better, bro? Like, which one is going to make you feel better? You do not feel the pain, like Andrew was saying. You do not feel like upset, right? Like when you're done with accomplishing something like that.
No.
Right. And no one looks at eating a whole box of Cheetos as an accomplishment. So it's pretty obvious, right? I actually don't want you to go try that, right? I think it's just it's super important as to why you do that, and it's also like a biological feeling. So like, right, like it's within us, right? Like we naturally feel better. Like, bro, I haven't been sick in like a year since I've been working out.
Yeah, it's great, bro.
My airways feel good, and I'm not even on the turmeric. Yet, bro.
Bro, it's the best thing, man. It's the best thing. I mean, and that's really what I wanted to come in here and talk about today. I wanted to show that video. Do some hard things in your life, and you'll learn so much more about yourself. So much more about yourself. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care about, it doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters, right? That's like one of the best sayings Cameron Haynes says. It says he runs on the mountains. The mountains don't care how much money you have. The mountains don't care how expensive your shorts are, or what Lululemon socks you got on, or whatever Nike shoes that you have there at $300. No, the mountains don't care about that. You want to earn equity, go run more. Go get more miles in. All that other stuff doesn't matter. So, go out there and go do some hard things and push yourself, then get back to us and let me know how you feel. And I already know how you're going to feel, right? Because it doesn't matter that your knees hurt. It doesn't matter that your legs started cramping up. Get through it. Don't give yourself options to quit. You'll be good.
Coach Andrew coming out at the end. That's a fact, bro. I want to shout out something that Daryl said today really quickly in the morning meeting today. He just said, I'm butchering it too. He said, God had a purpose for us as we get to see another day, right? And like it like kind of like shook my mindset up really quick. Every time we wake up, God has a purpose for us. So appreciate you guys for watching this one today. I'm excited to see where this grows and goes, right? Because we're not quitting, guys.
Yeah.
This isn't stopping.
We'll be doing it. Yo, it's gonna be crazy, man. We won't have this black line in between us. We'll be doing it we'll be doing it together at one point,
Yeah,
Yo, guys, just to leave off. Today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. Food for thought. Y'all have a good one. Back Your Beliefs, episode 6. Go
yes, sir.
Some hard stuff in your life.
It's meaningful. Andrew's posting shorts. Watch him.
Blouse.